Good evening, all. Welcome to the March 17th, 2026 meeting. Planning and Zoning Board. Mr. Quish will not be in attendance. I'll be running this meeting. If you could have stand for a Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Maybe you can do a roll call, please.
Mr. Agnesi?
Present.
Mr. Alling?
Present.
Mr. Anderson?
Present.
Mr. Furmender?
Present.
Mr. Collegian?
Present.
Mr. Machio?
Here.
Mr. Mortimer?
Present.
Mr. Sadi?
Present.
And Mr. Zaharides?
Present. Thank you for everybody attending. Two things that are noted from the beginning. On the public hearings, 430 North Street has been postponed, and it is scheduled now for April 7th of 2026. And 25 8th Avenue is also postponed. We don't have a new date for that. The first item that we have, item number C, letter C, executive session. We have to go into executive session regarding 833 Milford Crossing LLC versus Milford Planning and Zoning Board at 1357 Boston Post Road. Discussion regarding pending litigation. At this point, we're going to go into the caucus room to our right and the public's left. And David Sulcus, if you would join us for that particular session. And we have Attorney Woods here from the City Attorney's Office. Thank you.
you go. Okay.
Okay, thank you. We're back in session. We had some technical difficulties. We got this over. We have come out of executive session, so we have new businesses on letter D. Smart Life Homes LLC versus Planning and Zoning Board of the City of Milford, 521 Pond Point Avenue, a possible settlement approval. And members of the board, if we have any discussion, if not, if anybody wishes to make a motion, if there's no further discussion, if there's no motion, we just go to the next item.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Anderson?
Is through the lens of the, first of all, it being a location at New Haven Avenue and Pond Point that's really been derelict and underutilized for a number of years. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to run for planning and zoning was to see something happen, interest in a development to come in. But I felt that what was presented was a first pass, that it could be improved upon, because it is, the opportunity is there for it to be a signature building. And instead, I felt like it was more pedestrian, it was more industrial. And given the fact that it is adjacent to Indian River. And then I'd like to share that I thought it was important for neighbors to come out and put on the record how they felt about this particular concept, and they made recommendations that night. And so what we have in front of us is something that has not been modified. It doesn't take into account the information that we were concerned about that evening, the questions that we asked, nor does it take into consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Any other comments people wish to make?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Sulkus.
I need to point out to the board that that is a zoning compliant project. It was a site plan review. It's nice that people expressed their opinions about the project, but by law, the board does not have discretion to turn down an application that is zoning compliant, period. That's why we're going to be settling this, hopefully this evening, because the city has no defense in its turn down of the application.
Thank you, Mr. Sulkus. Any other comments? Mr. Machio, thank you.
Yeah, just a clarification. There's no addition to the what they wanted putting onto them today, correct?
Correct. What they did do, the board did ask, although they had no right to ask, you asked for some affordable units, and the applicant has agreed still to provide those 4 affordable units. They don't have to, because our regulations don't require it, but they're doing that.
Mr. Machio, does that answer your questions? Good. Any further questions?
Excuse me. I will make the motion. I move to approve, as previously discussed in executive session, the Smart Life Homes LLC versus Planning and Zoning Board, the City of Milford, 521 Pond Point Avenue.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Amy, if you would take a roll call for vote, please.
Mr. Agnesi?
Against the motion.
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian?
With the motion.
Mr. Machio?
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer?
I am with the motion.
Mr. Sadi?
With the motion?
Mr. Zaharides?
6-3, the motion passes.
Thank you very much. Next order of business is, again, under new business, 634 Gulf Street, Zone R18, petition of attorney Kevin and Gail DeGrand are the owners. Good evening, Attorney Crusaden.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board and staff. For the record, Kevin Crusaden. My office is at 243 Broad Street here in Milford. With me this evening is Mr. John DeGrand. This is for a single-family house on a vacant lot, 634 Gulf Street. It's up on the bluff, if you're familiar with the Gulf Street area. As the commission knows, your role with reviewing a coastal site plan is to confirm zoning compliance and also to confirm whether there's adverse impacts to coastal resources. The record has Mr. Sulkas's comments, it has Mr. Harris's comments, the city engineer's comments. We have all of the, we have inland wetlands letter stating there's no wetlands concerns. The project has been stated to be zoning compliant by Mr. Harris, and I think Mr. Sulkas in his memo has also referenced that there does not appear to be any adverse impacts to coastal resources. Just as a side note, a year or so ago, this property would not have been subject to a coastal site plan, but because the legislature decided last year to require every single family home in the CAM zone to be subject to coastal site plan, that's why we're here this evening. But this is not within 100 feet of any coastal resource. So we have all of the approvals. We have a clean letter from the city engineer. There's a very detailed drainage report, and there's a beautiful house design. Mr. Wicko is here at another project, designed the house, and I'm available to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Any questions about the board? Attorney Crusaden, I have one.
Yes.
You referenced the change in the statute.
Yes.
Do you remember which statute that was?
22A 109, I
Okay,
think.
but it's
Yeah.
not the Public Act regarding most of the housing issues?
No, it didn't have anything to do with that.
Fair enough. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Any questions? I see Mr. Wicko is here. Any questions for the architect? No further questions. We'll listen to a motion.
Thank you.
I move to approve as presented the petition of Kevin Crusaden Esquire for a coastal site area plan review for a single-family dwelling on map 028, block 520, parcel 26, of which John and Gail DeGrand are the owners.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion on it? Seeing no further discussion, we'll take a vote, please.
Mr. Agnesi?
With the motion.
Mr. Alling?
With the motion.
Mr. Anderson?
With the motion.
Mr. Fermender?
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian?
With the motion.
Mr. Machio?
With motion.
Mr. Mortimer?
With the motion.
Mr. Sadi?
With the motion?
Mr. Zaharides?
With the motion.
Thank you. We have unanimous approval. Good luck on the project. Thank you very much. We now go to public hearings. These are closed by April 21st of this year, and we would vote by June 25th of this year. The only one that's left for us on the public hearings is 801 Boston Post Road, Zone CDD1, petition of Robert Smith for the special permit with site plan review for a 64-unit housing development on map 078, block 825, parcel 70, of which 801 LLC, Metro 801 LLC is the owner. Thank you. Good evening, Attorney Lynch.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Just for the record, my name is Thomas Lynch. I'm an attorney with the law firm Lynch, Trimbicki, and Boynton, and my office is located here in Milford at 63 Cherry Street. And I have the pleasure of appearing before you tonight with my good friend Bob Smith. Bob is the manager of Metro 801 LLC and the owner of the property at 801 Boston Post Road. And we're bringing before you tonight a application for a special permit and site plan approval under section 316 of our zoning regulations, specifically in the section regarding zone classification CDD1, This is an application for a 64-unit multifamily residential development on this site. I also have with me John Whitco, who's Milford architect, has drawn the site plan and the building and elevation he's going to present to you along with the floor plans for the two beautiful buildings we're presenting to you tonight. Ron Wassmer of Connecticut Civil Group is also with me. He did the engineering on site, and he'll go through the specifics of the drainage and the other elements of the site engineering. And then lastly, you have in your packet a traffic study that was performed by David Sullivan of New Haven. David is here with us tonight. He's available for any questions. His report basically speaks for itself, and it was adopted by Sergeant Hemperly in the Police Commission approval of the plans. So he is available if there's any questions. So, a little bit of background. This property was owned for many, many years by the Villani family here in Milford. I remember as a kid, Carl Villani was the face behind the counter at the Milford Center post office for many, many years. And the property had been utilized with two commercial buildings. David, if you could scroll to SP3 for me, just to reference the board to the existing conditions. So there were two commercial buildings on the property and two residences. The most important or the most notable commercial building that was on the site was the home of the Paul's Hamburger Stand. And anybody who has grown up in Milford or lived in Milford after World War II, Paul's was an iconic spot in Milford, popular for teenagers to hang out, families to gather for their hamburgers and their milkshakes. It was operated for some 50 years by the Labonte and Moore family. Actually, one of the partners, Clifton Moore, went on to become Milford's fourth mayor. He served between 1971 and 73. And then when he passed away, his son, Ed, continued with the business until it closed about 17 years ago. Since that time, that building has been left in a rather dilapidated state, as you can obviously see when you drive by the site. There was another commercial building just to the west of that on the Post Road side. And then on the intersection between Orange Avenue and Boston Post Road, there were two residences, number 3 and number 11 Orange Avenue. Again, old residences that were built probably around the turn of the 20th century. One of the things that held up the marketing of this property for a fairly long time was a legal question that arose whether or not the Milford Historic Preservation Commission had jurisdiction over these two residences because they were located in what's known as the River Park Historic District. And to make a long story short, back in the 1980s, the Villanis had notified the State Historic Registry that they wished to opt out from participation in the River Park District. And through the efforts, I have to commend Attorney Kevin Kersaden, who worked on behalf of the Villani family for over a year. He researched that issue, brought it to the attention of the Milford Historic Preservation Commission, and in August of '24, the commission issued a ruling that those two residences were not part of their jurisdiction. So that had held up the marketing, and once that release was obtained, the property went on the market, and Bob purchased it at that time. So that's what was on the property before. If we go to SP1, we can now see the proposed development. And I'm not going to go into this in too great detail. John's going to do that. But, just in summary, there's going to be two buildings built on the site. There'll be a total of 64 units between the two buildings. Building A is going to be located close to the driveway that's going to come out from the property onto Orange Avenue. Building A consists of some 25,971 square feet. It's going to contain 25 units, combination of 1 and 2 bedroom units. Building B, which is on the easterly side of the property, consists of some 34,000 square feet. It's going to contain 39 units. That will have a mix of efficiency apartments, 1-bedroom apartments, and 2-bedroom apartments. As you can see from the site plan, there's going to be 2 accesses. There's going to be the main access going out onto Route 1 that basically is in the center of the property, and there'll be a second access onto Orange Avenue with a stop sign there, approximately in the area where the most southerly of the 2 residences is located now. The one thing that we wanted to stress throughout our presentation to you is this is being brought to you tonight as a site plan special permit application. The plan meets all of the zoning standards. It's zoning compliant. And if you go through each element of the zoning table, I'm not going to do that with you, but each element of the zoning table is met in terms of the size of the land, which needed to be a minimum of 40,000 square feet, the building coverage in the CDD1 zone, which is 25% maximum, 60% maximum for the lot coverage. All of the zoning standards have been met. In regards to the parking on site, based on the number of units, there's a requirement for 70 parking spaces on site. This plan provides 76 parking spaces. So there is more than adequate parking on the site to accommodate the residences. There are 8 electric vehicle charging stations on site in accordance with our new revised regulation that requires that. There is a very large, again, we can note it from this plan. It's seen more on the rendering, but there's a large open space area, as you can see in the front, to provide sort of a recreational area for residents, sitting area, there'll be benches, a lot of greenery. So this is going to be a very, very attractive site plan once it's developed. The other thing I wanted to stress, this property really captures the entry into the center of Milford. If you get off of exit 39, if you come down from Woodbridge or Orange on Route 121, if you come off the Merritt Parkway, or if you're traveling on Route 1, to get into the center of Milford, that entryway coming in North Street past the Duck Pond has always been a major way for Orange Avenue and the Post Road, looking at this piece of property that is totally dilapidated. That's what you're going to see now. So this is really, really going to be an improvement to the area and a real signature property for those folks coming into downtown Milford. You have in your packet that David gave to you that was on the website, the reviews from all the, after hearing the presentation and the gallonage per day numbers that were submitted, they found it to be adequate and gave approval to this plan. Tim Suden issued on January 22nd his site plan fire review. The city engineer, innocuous, he did not find any engineering concerns whatsoever with the plans that were delivered to him by John and Ron, and that really goes to their integrity in terms of submitting a site plan that the city engineer, they know what he wants to accept. I mentioned the police commission. The summary that Sergeant Hemperly gave in his memo, and I'm just going to read it for the record. Driveways are located as far away from the signalized intersection of Boston Post Road and Orange Avenue as possible. There are no sightline issues from the development. His last paragraph is a recitation of the peak hour traffic numbers from Dave Sullivan's report. He adopted them. So I'm going to turn things over to John right now to go through the elements of the site plan. I'm going to come back at the end just to give some summary comments to you, but
Good evening, John Wicko, architect. 58 Prospect Street in Milford. I'll hit some of the points that Tom didn't go over. Talked about, he's got the overall size of the buildings. They're three-story buildings. The first floor is residential, and they all have direct, tuck the parking towards the back of Building B. We tried to hide a lot of the parking to really enhance the view and the feeling of the residential development from with that, we've lined the property line with privacy fence and landscaping. One is a required buffer to the I think it's an R12.5, and the others are just to kind of contain the site and beautify the living there. Boston Post Road, the most notable that Tom brought up was the park as a major feature, and they're nicely rendered in the perspectives. We placed the Building A on the corner, which is the other rendering, David. That really has kind of a transition between, or an introduction from the Post Road and Orange Avenue, as Tom was mentioning, as a kind of a gateway into the downtown, one of the well-traveled routes, into the historic district. We used a lot of the elements of the historic houses that are on that building, some smaller roof lines, smaller scale, and it's kind of a unique building off the road intentionally to hide the parking and provide all that landscape. Dumpster enclosure detailed on 1SD2 matches the base of the buildings with it's reinforced concrete with brick veneer. We talked about SP3, and basically the site is going to be cleared of all the vegetation and buildings and asphalt and other features. The next set of plans would be Ron's engineering, which he'll be able to go through after I speak. The lighting is represented with a safe and comfortable level of illumination. It's done through 14-foot high LED poles and recessed porch lights in the entrances and lobby entrances of the two buildings. And the lighting meets all the light trespass restrictions. Matt Pop did the landscaping for us, which we've been looking at. A very robust amount of plants of the appropriate size and character for their locations. He introduced street trees along to soften the edge of the property and give it a little isolation in a sense from the occupants on the inside. There's nice features like in front of the parking that's close to the post road. He's got a little buffer with that really centers on that parking lot to soften that so it's not imposing. Flowering street trees in front of the park that are on the street side. And he always does, well-planted foundations and entries where people will enjoy them the most. His plans do comply with the requirements for yards, buffers, parking area, and refuse screening. The buildings themselves, A and B, we've included the floor plans which show the configuration of the units, unit counts, and areas are scheduled. Building heights are below the 40-foot requirement. Building A is 37 foot and 9 inches, and Building B is 39.3. We talked about Building A having two fronts. One thing I do want to mention and talk about are the massing, the quality of the construction and detailing that we've done is asphalt roof shingles on the main roofs and some detailing of galvalume metal roofs at the small entry porches to the dwellings. Bob uses quality cedar shingles, solid PVC casings, PVC corner boards, and paneling to really make the building stand out with high quality, which is materials and attention to detailing as Building A. It acts as a beautiful backdrop to the park, and Bob likes to detail the fronts, the sides, and the rears all the same, so the occupants see the same level of building throughout the project. That concludes my hopefully brief description, and I'll be certainly available to answer questions now or after Ron, who would like to talk about the end.
Again, another excellent example of the work that you do. Do you have any solar panels on the roof?
I don't believe so. I don't think that's a program that Bob enters into. I'm glad you mentioned that you did like the building. Just want to make it publicly known that it's such a pleasure to work with Bob Smith and Metro Star. He gives me the opportunity to do all these beautiful things in the beautiful buildings by
The answer is there are no solar.
no solar panels. He
Okay,
does not
thank you.
participate in that program.
Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Ron?
Good evening. For the record, Ronald Wismer, professional engineer, land surveyor with an office at 158 Research Drive. My responsibility on this project was to coordinate with John and in particular work on the site civil engineering plans. In particular, I did the grading and drainage plan, the utility infrastructure. Currently, there's no storm drainage on this property. The City of Milford standards now require 100-year storm drainage, infiltration. So we've accomplished. I do want to make a comment regarding the city engineer's letter. He submitted two letters. One was on February 9th, I believe it was. Oh, March 2nd, earlier in the year. And in his March 2nd, 2026, he says that he has no outstanding engineering issues. In regards to grading, the property is quite flat. There's a minimal need for any earthwork. However, as part of the requirement, the utility plan was also prepared by me. The site is served by public sewer and city water. The sewer commission approved the connection to the municipal sewer. The fire department reviewed the. There was also a traffic study that was done, which has already been alluded to, and that was approved by the police commission. David Sullivan is.
Any questions by the members of the board? Mr. Wasserman, I have one. Due to the wonderful weather we've had the last 6 months, what are the plans with snow removal for this large project?
There's quite a bit of open space around the property that snow could be stored in the shelves between the curb line and the property line. If need be, snow can be removed off-site. I wouldn't say it's ideal, but there is a large area in the front of the property that snow could be stockpiled on a short. It's been about 10 years since we've seen that, so it doesn't seem to be a common nuisance, let's say. I have no comments on solar panels on this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So that concludes our presentation too, unless there were specific questions that the board had for either myself or Mr. Sullivan as it relates to the traffic. I just would like to respectfully remind the board your scope of review of an application such as this. This is a site plan review. It's a special permit that meets all the zoning requirements. The CDD3 zone regulations were amended in 2019, so we present this application to you in accordance with the current CDD1 regulations. So with that, I'd ask that you approve this, and it's going to be another beautiful building added to Milford and leading into the downtown and hit through the historic district. I think it's going to be a great addition to Milford. Thanks.
Any further questions by the board? Mr. Anderson?
I have a question regarding the traffic study that was done.
Would you like Mr. Sullivan to come up and
Yes,
address?
please.
Yeah, okay.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. So,
David Sullivan with SLR.
thank you. So I hope that I can explain this in a way that you can follow. Along the Orange Avenue, North Street corridor, there's an island. And if someone were crossing traffic over Route 1 from Orange Avenue heading to downtown Milford, they would come to right, sit on traffic, and wait for the traffic that's coming from downtown before proceeding. So it's our turning onto north or coming through north from across Route 1. And I'm wondering if that issue has been studied and it's sufficient, because that was, I wonder how well that works in light of what the proposed development is.
Sure, I understand exactly what you're talking about. And yes, we did look at it. As a matter of fact, we looked at it from a couple of different perspectives. We looked at it in terms of operations, and so we actually did traffic counts there to see how things what's been done to force the vehicles is they're teeing them up with paint, basically. I think an island there, a raised island, would be too restrictive and probably cause more operational issues. But when you do sight lines in both directions, so you can do it safely and you could do it without operational concerns. Is it a bit awkward? Sure. But certainly what's been done out there with the revised pavement markings and thing, hit point and have them fend for themselves with merging and things. So short answer is yes, we looked at it and we found that it's functioning fine, and more importantly from this, not more importantly, but importantly from.
Thanks for that explanation. And how many trips are generated in and out of the project along Orange Avenue?
I don't have that to memory, so I'll look it up. First, there's 9 vehicles that are exiting onto Orange Avenue. Most of them, 8 of the 9, are taking a right turn, and 1 in, and actually none taking the right in, and that's just a rounding error. It's a negligible, just because there's not a lot of traffic entering a residential site in the morning. So in the afternoon, we would have 6 exiting onto Orange Avenue, with most of them, 5 of the 6, taking a right towards Route 1 and 1 heading towards downtown here, basically, and taking a right. So the volumes are in general, residential and a project of this size is really not generating all that
Manageable.
much traffic.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Sullivan.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Sure, I asked about the solar panels. Could you give us an explanation? Somebody said there's a program that doesn't apply anymore. Could you explain that to us, please? If you know.
I have no explanation. Bob is opting not to use solar panels for this project.
Okay. Additionally, we just had a matter that was on that did agree to affordable housing, and I know that MetroStar has been doing a lot of projects around here. 64 of this is going to affect our ability to get to the moratorium. What considerations, if any, were there to making a percentage of those units affordable housing?
Respectfully, none.
Okay. Any reason why not?
Yeah, because of the fact that the regulations don't call for them.
I understand that. But being a good member of the community, they could be added.
In addition, that there be 10 or 15 affordable units, that wouldn't stand up in court. You would have problems with that approval. Courts have been very clear that boards, Planning and Zoning Commission 316 of the zoning regulations, and in revising that section, it removed the affordability component. So if the board, it's a public interest to have affordable units as part of a project, your recourse is to amend on a special permit or a site plan unless they relate specifically to health or safety.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? I don't have any.
Or about how there's a standard of review where the board is acting on this application administratively, all right? And again, not getting into courts and case law, but courts have held that in application representing an applicant, and Bob, you asked a specific question to me, and I offered 2 affordable units for the project at 62 West Main Street. But that was because that property was located in the RO zone, and we were before the board with an application for a special exception. With special exceptions or zone changes, the board is acting in a legislative capacity. The board has wide discretion, and you could have very well said to me, if your client doesn't agree to put 2 affordable units in this project, then we're going to just turn them down. And you could have defended that action. So there's a distinction, and I just wanted to make that clear, that in this particular application, we're presenting it to you as a site plan special permit in accordance with the regulations, and that's what the board has to accept, unfortunately.
If any members of the public wish to speak, as we've seen other individuals go up to the podium, give us your name and your address, and keep your comments up to about 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is our historic downtown. I know there was a legal fight for it, and the town came up on the bad end. But these houses are, built in, I think it was 18. This is a nice gateway into our historic district, but of course we're destroying the historic district by continually to tear down these old houses. So I know there's probably not much we can do about it, but I just like to protest it. Discontinue the loss of our history of our town. Just kind of an aside thing, if I could say, I hope that the members are watching the State House, Senate. I know they're cooking up a lot of bills that will to my legislators, and I hope that you will to reach out to our state senators and representatives and plead with them to keep from taking away your powers and keep from taking away your ability to act in the interests of our Milford citizens instead of the interests of Hartford. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Teresa. I'm sort of newer to planning and zoning, and I'm not even sure what a special permit is, but I get the feeling maybe it's so that we have some say over what happens in our community. We do have a huge number of very expensive units. Thank you, Metro. store. And I know that there are lots of units that are available for people. And I'm just wondering who this housing is geared towards. It seems that it's geared towards people. That's not true of most people who live in Milford. So that's my concern. It's just, can we take a pause? Can we take a moment? Can we look at this? I would love it if the people who built in this community and the architects and everybody involved wanted to do the right thing for Milford, as opposed to quoting the letter of the law that we don't have to do this, because it's the right thing to do. And I know you all have been working hard on that, so I just want to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak regarding this particular matter that we're hearing? That being said, it appears that nobody else wishes to come up and speak. Attorney Lynch, you have the last say on this particular matter. If you wish to say anything further. I cannot hear you. From that position, thank you.
Thanks. No, that concludes our presentation to you, and I hope that you approve this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Attorney Lynch. So, are there any questions or are there any comments by the members of the board regarding this application? Mr. Anderson?
Question for Mr. Sulkus. There are 4 street trees that are proposed along Boston Post Road. And I noted in the past that trees along Boston Post Road, they were not included in this submittal, I guess, and I wondered why.
They were not included in jurisdiction anyway. Their project of planting trees along the Post Road, which started a number of years ago, they were working with DOT for, planting. People don't need to go through them to plant on the Boston Post Road, because ultimately they have to go through DOT. So that's why. That commission has been helpful in the past with certain species for things, when we've been able to get responses from them. Unfortunately, I would submit things to them that I would never get responses. So, if I'm not getting responses from them, then I have to count on, the professional landscape architects who come in, and my knowledge in using their list, the list of the tree commission's street trees.
All right, so I just want to clarify. In this case, it wasn't submitted to them.
Correct.
Right, okay.
And it's not a requirement. It's one of those things that I had done periodically in the past when I think that they would be helpful.
So it's discretionary?
So it's discretionary, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This motion is still open. Mr. Sulkus, would you give us the administrative summary, please?
Sure. The applicant is proposing to construct 64 units of housing in 2 buildings. Building A is 25,971 square feet and has 23 one-bedroom and 2 two-bedroom units distributed over 3 floors. Building B is 34,128 square feet, has 18 efficiency units, 17 one-bedrooms, and 4 two-bedroom units distributed over 3 floors. 76 parking spaces are provided where 70 are required. Of those, 8 are EV charging spaces. The plans have been reviewed by all required city departments and boards with no outstanding issues to be addressed. The plans are zoning compliant, and as such by statute, the board is obligated to approve them as presented.
Thank you very much. Is there any further discussion? Anybody that's opposed to closing the public hearing at this point? Looking at both sides, I see that we all agree that this Public hearing is now closed. I will listen to any motion on this particular application.
I move to approve as presented the petition of Robert Smith for a special permit with site plan review for a 64-unit housing development on map 078, block 825, parcel 70, of which Metro 801 LLC is the owner.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on this? I have a couple of comments to make. I recognize the work that Mr. Smith and his limited corporation is making, the design projects that we've seen across the city. I was hoping that we would get some more affordable housing out of this because we're not going to get to the moratorium. And I think that comments made by the public over the course of the last couple of years indicated that it's very difficult for people living in the city of Milford to live in these particular projects. I recognize clearly that it's not required. I recognize clearly that the project is beautiful to look at, but I would have hoped that we would have the affordable housing units, and I also would hope that they would have solar panels on top to assist in the area of electricity. Those being said, I recognize Mr. Lynch's comments. Thank you. Nothing further. If you might take a roll call, please.
Mr. Agnesi?
With the motion.
Mr. Alling?
With the motion.
Mr. Anderson?
With the motion.
Mr. Fermender?
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian?
I'm with the motion.
Mr. Machio?
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer?
With the motion.
Mr. Sadi?
With the motion.
Mr. Zaharides?
With the motion.
Okay, this motion is passed. Thank you very much for your presentation. There is no old business. Liaison report. I attended the Regional Planning Council last week. There was nothing specifically regarding the city of Milford. That being said, to all the new members of the board, and that would be for the last 2 years, there are education requirements, and I know that Mr. Sulkus has provided to us some of the educational opportunities. There are 2 changes in the law of housing. One is regarding Public Act 25-1, the other is a Public Act which ends at 8002. That being said, most of the education time is helpful for us going forward as a board because we're going to have some requirements, not this year, but in the next couple of years as to what housing will be. But again, just pointing out information, and information is good if we can use it. No subcommittee reports, 26 through to Mr. Sulkus. Can this be voted on as a package, or do we need each one to be voted on separately?
You can do it as a package.
Thank you very much. So if there's anybody who wants to make a motion regarding the minutes of 2-3, 2-19, and 3-3-26. And would that be Mr. Fermender? I couldn't see who was. Mr. Anderson, thank you. You have a second? Any abstentions?
I'll abstain. I was not present.
Okay, any opposition? Thank you very much. That is the minutes. Chair was not able to make it tonight, so there is no report. Mr. Sulkus, any staff report?
By instruction of the subcommittee on regulations, I'll be forwarding to you shortly some proposed new regulations for the CDD3, which you can look at. And the hope would be for the opportunity to, they may not be perfect when you get them, but to at least circulate them to the state and the Council of Governments, and then we will have the process where we go through public hearings and changes could be made. So you'll have a chance to look at them, and if you have any questions or comments, by all means, let me know.
Thank you. And I believe one of the parts of the discussion we had was we're looking at the CDD1 the present time, but then we were going to compare them to the MCD.
So we're looking actually at the CDD3.
Three.
Right. And what I've done is I posed a question question to various members of the committee, do you like the MCDD? And, the response is that, probably everyone in Milford likes what they have seen, for the most part, in the MCDD, because the CDD3 is immediately adjacent to it. I have basically adopted a lot of the MCDD for the CDD3 with some changes. We don't want, for instance, we allow cemeteries in the MCDD. We don't necessarily want new cemeteries in the what is being right now called the MCDD2. So it is slightly different from the MCDD, but incorporates a lot of the opportunities that exist in the MCDD to be applied to the CDD3.
And the documents that we're going to get would show us what the CDD3 exists prior to any changes being made, and how the MCDD might apply to that also.
That could highlight the difference, if you would like, between the current MCDD and the MCDD2. It is a lot more inclusive, the MCDD, than the CDD3. So you could take the existing MCDD3 and then look and see, oh well, this use isn't there, or that use isn't there. But I didn't do a line-by-line breakdown of the current CDD3, comparing it to the new MCDD. But again, you'll see the difference. I can do the difference between the existing MCDD and the proposed MCDD2.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The last thing we have on the agenda is a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Mortimer. See everybody next month.